Hi guys, thank you so much for joining this video. So if you are a Pilates beginner, this is a really good way to start your Pilates journey. So in this class I will be mostly explaining about those important technical things that you need to know or would be very helpful for you to know going through your Pilates training. So Pilates is a very technical training. It can feel a little difficult at the beginning, but once you get these 3, 4, 5 technical things, then you know your basics and then you know everything else. Yeah? So let's just start by lying down on the mat, arms down your side, feet hip width apart. So don't bring your feet too wide away. Don't bring your feet too close. So find a rather comfortable positions in your knee and then just breathe. Yeah? So just starting by taking a couple of breaths here, just arriving into the mat. See if you can open your collarbones a little bit wider. See if you can lengthen your spine. See if you can get a feeling of your neutral pelvis. So I will be talking a lot about the neutral pelvis, and basically your neutral pelvis is just now where you're just lying, not changing anything, yeah? So this would be your neutral spine. Perfect. From here, we're just gonna take one long inhale, and on your exhale, see if you can find your sit bones and pull them together. Now that's already a little bit complicated, I know. Just relax again and take a long inhale. Again, on your exhale, bring your sit bones together. So it's not a movement, it's almost a feeling of your pelvis. The back of the pelvis is getting a little bit smaller. And relax again, take a long inhale. One more time, exhaling, pulling the sit bones together. And relax. Perfect. From here, bring your hands on the insides of your hip bone, so kind of on your stomach, yeah? And just feel what is happening now. So we're going to take a long inhale again. You're going to find that feeling of the sit bones pulling together, and now see if you can bring your hip bones together as well. Good. And relax. Take a long inhale. Again, bringing sit bones together, hip bones together. So you might feel a little activation of your deep abdominals. That's what we're going for. Good. And let's just take one more long inhale for nothing. You're exhaling, bringing sit bones together, hip bones together. Good. And relax again. We have a last thing here. So again, taking one long inhale, bringing now sit bones together, hip bones together, and see if you can close your ribs and bring them a little bit further down towards your hip. And relax. Good. Again, a long inhale. And exhaling, bringing sit bones, hip bones, and ribs together. So we're closing the front side, making the back longer. And if you feel your abdominals, it should be working by now. Good. And relax. Let's do it last time. So again, bringing sit bones together, hip bones together, ribs down towards your hip. Now see if you can hold this feeling. Yeah. Let's place the hands on the side of your ribs, if that's possible for you. And then from here, going into this lateral breathing, or this breathing into the ribs. So see if we can keep this activation in the abdominals, and then see if you can breathe into the side of your ribs. So we're taking one long inhale, still keeping the activation in the stomach. My hands are floating a little bit out to the side because my ribs are pushing me. And exhale. See if you can gather and activate that front side a little bit more. Good. Again, a long inhale into the ribs. And exhale together. Sit bones, hip bones, ribs even more. Good. Let's take 2 more. Long inhale. Up into your ribs. And exhaling, gathering a little bit more. Good. Last time. Inhaling into your hands. And exhale to gather even more. Perfect. Good. So the breathing is kind of difficult. It will come with time. Yeah, so don't worry. Bring your hands down your sides. If you can think just a little bit about that side or lateral breathing. So from here we're going into a pelvic tilt. Yeah, rounding the lower back. We're doing that quite a lot throughout the different exercises. Yeah, so you take a long inhale again. You bring sit bones, hip bones, ribs together, and then see if you can get the feeling of your lower abdominals pulling up towards your belly button. I'm not squeezing the glutes, it's a teeny tiny movement. And come back to neutral where you just relaxed. And again, take a long inhale. Bringing sit bones, hip bones, ribs together, and then scooping the lower abdominals up towards the belly button. And that's why your pelvis is moving. And coming back to neutral. Nice. We only have 2 more here. So again, bringing sit bones, hip bones, ribs together, tilting and rounding. Nice. And come back into neutral. Good. Last time. Again, bringing sit bones, hip bones, ribs together, tilting and rounding only from those abdominals. Now stay there and hold it. So we want to hold this scoop, but we're breathing into the side of the ribs. It's difficult, I know. Keep breathing. Good. From here, take a long inhale. So the inhale goes into the ribs. And on your exhale, squeeze your glutes. And just feel the difference here. So now I can round even more. I can pull my tailbone even more in between my legs under myself. And come back into neutral. Good. You're just going to do the last one here. Again, bringing sit bones, hip bones, ribs together. So that's the first thing even before we start moving. And then tilting and rounding only from the abdominals. Then take an inhale. Then on your exhale, you're going to squeeze your glutes. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Perfect. And come all the way back down to neutral. Nice, guys. From here, I'm just going to introduce you to tabletop, just so you know it. Yeah, that's a position of the legs. So if you bring your right leg up with the knee just above your hip, 90-degree angle, and then your lower legs parallel to the floor. That would be your tabletop, yeah? Kind of like a table, yeah? I didn't made up the names. So that's a typical Pilates position for the legs, and you will see it and meet it quite often, yeah? So from here, that's where we're beginning. If you have your leg too far away, it's quite heavy, yeah? If you have your leg too far in, you're kind of squeezing your hip flexors a bit. So you want to find that position where the knee is just above the hip. Perfect. Now stay here and hold that position. See if you can find your sit bones again, your hip bones again, your ribs again. So you're really activating your abdominals, yeah? Now without your spine or pelvis moving at all, see if you can lift the left leg up as well. So nothing happens into the rest of my body. Perfect. So when we have the legs lifted, they're always closed. So if you have just a tiny squeeze of your knees and your feet together, then you find your inner thighs and a better connection to your pelvic floor. Good. From here, just bring your right leg back down on the floor and the left leg down as well. Now coming up to this seated position, you can take your time, and we want to aim for sitting up with straight legs. It might look like nothing for most people. It's quite hard to stretch the knees. It's quite hard to stretch the back long, yeah? So it takes a lot of effort from the quads, hip flexors, the abdominals are supporting. The back muscles have to make the back nice and long. So we're doing a lot of work just sitting here. If you have trouble sitting here, try to bend your knees just a little bit and see if you can come even higher up to sit. Perfect, good. I'm gonna keep my legs straight for now. We're just gonna go into a little rotation. So if you bring your hands behind your head, your armpits down your side, yeah? So if you try to open your arms a little bit wider here, you might feel a stretch of the shoulders, yeah? This position also counts when we're doing sit-ups. So basically I could do a sit-up sitting up here, still want a good position in my shoulders. So I'm bringing my elbows forward until they're not in a stretch, yeah? So in a relaxed position. From here, I can draw my armpit a little bit down towards my hip. It's a teeny tiny movement. And then I have the feeling of that armpit drawing down to those ribs that we just talked about, that are drawing down towards your hips. Yeah, so the whole thing is connected. Okay, so that would be exactly the same thing doing a sit-up or anything else with the hands behind your head. Perfect. So from here, we're going into a rotation. So stretch your neck as long as possible. Stretch your back as long as possible. I'm finding those armpits. I'm finding my ribs, my sit bones, my hip bones. So I have that active front side. Perfect. From here, we're only turning and rotating the chest bone. Yeah, so my nose is gonna stay over my chest. My armpit is staying connected. So it's not a lot of rotation that I can actually do, and that's fine. And come back into center. Other side, turning and rotating. So without moving the hips and coming into center. Good. Let's do one more time. So lifting up, turning and rotating. So it's the upper spine moving and my pelvis is staying perfectly still. And come back into center. Other side, turning and rotating. And coming back to center. Now, why are we doing this? Yeah, so we will be doing rotation work. We will also be doing chest lifts with rotation. You all know these, yeah? We might be doing the crisscross. You know these. We might even be doing different leg exercises with rotation, yeah? So now you know your sit bones, your hip bones, your ribs feeling. You know the position of the arm. You know the rotation, yeah? So that's perfect. Now we just need to come on the stomach to lie to talk a little bit about the back side, okay? So I'll be turning around. You will find a position where you can still see me. Perfect. If you bring your hands on top of each other and your forehead down on your hands just to rest, yeah? It's important when we're doing back extensions that you are aware of your lower back, yeah? Your lower back should be working. It shouldn't be cramping or pressing into the lower back, all right? So if you do have trouble with your lower back, you can open your feet just hip width apart, or if you can, then close your feet instead. Again, finding that midline. Perfect. From here, I'm just finding those hip bones again. So I'm activating my abdominals just a little bit for support. See if you can find the armpits that we just talked about. Bring them down your side, and now instead of finding the front of the ribs, pull them on the back of the ribs, yeah? So the feeling of attaching to your shoulder blades instead, or rather a little bit further down. Perfect. From here, just lift off your nose. Lift your chest bone. Good. And then stay here and hold it. So I'm not lifting high, I'm thinking about length. I'm trying not to use my arms to lift, but more for support. Now see if you can get the feeling again of the armpits pulling down on your back. Your chest bone is pushing forward. Perfect. From here, just be aware of your neck position. So mostly We want to look up because that feels like we're going even higher up, but you can see how much I'm squeezing my neck. So if you think about looking straight forward and down, so kind of looking over the edge of a mountain, perfect. And then come slowly back down again. We're just gonna do one more here. So bringing the hip bones together, finding that abdominal connection, finding those armpits, pulling down on your back, good. Lift your nose, just slightly bit off. Think about that edge of the cliff that you're looking over. And now only think about your chest bone moving. Good. When we're up here, see if you can lengthen your neck, lengthen your spine. You might even want to pull back with your arms just a little bit to pull your chest even further front. Now I feel the top of my back working quite a lot. I also feel my lower back working, but in a nice way. Yeah, that's supposed to be the feeling. Yeah, should be working, not overworking. And come all the way back down. Great. You can use your arms just to push yourself up. If you need to take a small stretch here for the lower back, you're very welcome to do that. Otherwise, that was it. Just a small technical talk, rather. I hope you can take this into the next class that you're gonna do. I will be talking quite a lot about those sit bones, the hip bones, the ribs, the armpit, the back side, the chest bone, the rotation, yeah? So you will hear all of these things again, but now you had it in a more detailed way, yeah? So I hope you could use this class and have fun with the next class that you're doing. Thank you for watching.